So this is our Edward the Emu tutorial. I'm doing it this way, but you can have a look and then see how you'd like to do your emu. So I've started off with a piece of A4 white paper and a sharp pencil. I'm not going to use a rubber because sometimes it doesn't rub out properly. So you probably won't need a rubber. If you do need to rub out, it would be handy for you to sketch lightly. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to sketch lightly. So I'm going to start at the edge of my page. And I'm just going to draw a long neck. So I'm doing just a sketching motion and I'm sort of bending the neck upwards a little bit. And then you decide how thick you want the neck to be. So I'm just going to do it about this big. Okay, probably about that. Yeah, that looks good. Then we're going to do a beak. You can do the beak however you like. I've noticed in the artworks that I've showed you, a lot of the beaks sort of go like this. With some nostrils like that. You don't have to add all the detail in now because that's what we'll do with our oil pastels. Or if you don't have oil pastels at home, you could do pencil or maybe have some paint. It's up to you how you do that one. So I'm going to do some nice big emu eyes. Big oval shape, I think. That looks good. And then I'm just going to draw a rough head shape. I'm not going to do it too dark because it's actually going to be covered with the emu's hair, and you'll see that when I'm finished. So I'm just doing a rough emu sketch there. Okay, so now I'm going to switch to some oil pastels because I just wanted a lead outline that was just rough. So I've got some different options here. I've got some nice colours in there and I've got a little pack like this. If you need oil pastels to do this, you can come and borrow some from the school too, that's fine. Okay, so I think I'm going to choose, I'll just show you my oil pastels. I think I'm going to choose this dark blue colour to do the emu's body. So I'd like to press quite hard when I use oil pastels because then it fills in all those little white spots. And I've got it on some newspaper so that I'm not going to wreck the bench. And that means I can go all the way to the end. You probably can't see very well, but I'm going all the way to the end. I'm just filling in all of his neck. And I'm trying to go in the same direction. Can you see I'm just going up and down in the same direction? Filling in all those little white gaps. I'm just going to be a bit more careful around the beak and the eyes because I'm going to do those a different colour. And I'm also going a little bit more careful when I get to the edge because that's going to be a different colour too. It's okay if you make a little mistake, you can just make it a little bit bigger. You can make the whole neck or the whole head a bit bigger. Just curving underneath the beak there, following along the line that I drew. Quite hard with the oil pastels when it doesn't have that fine point, but you can just try your best. All the way up, curving around the head. You'll notice that when you start to use the oil pastel, it will actually start creating little points, and you might notice that I keep twisting the oil pastel, and that's because I'm trying to have that point touching my paper, and that makes it a little bit easier for me to decide where the best bit to draw is, because it sort of creates that point and you can use that point to do all the little fine detail. Oh, I can feel that this is actually broken on the inside, so I'll have to hold it a little bit closer to the edge, but that's fine. Okay, the top of the head can be a bit rough because we're actually going to go over the top of that with a black. I'm going to actually take that out because it's becoming a bit difficult. So like I said before, if you don't have oil pastels, you might be able to come in and borrow some from the school, or you could use pencil or crayon or paint. You could probably use texture if you wanted to, but texture would be a little bit more difficult, I think, to get that strong, bold colour that we're after. Okay. And I think I'll choose this nice orange to do the beak. I'm just going to go over those nostril holes because I think I'll go over it in black after, but the black's darker than the orange, so that won't matter too much. You'll notice that it's starting to go a little bit of a different colour, and that's because I'm slightly going into the blue, but it's not going to worry too much. It will just make it a little bit of a darker orange, and that's fine. And I'll just use that black, so I've got my black at the end here to do the nostril holes. So I'm just going in with that oval shape again. There we go. Now this is your artwork, remember, so you can change some things up if you want to. If there's something you want to do in particular, that's fine. Okay, I think for the eyes, I'd like to do this nice light blue colour, because that's a really pretty blue. But you could choose whatever colour you like. I'm just going to go in and do nice eye, blue eye here. I'm going to add some extra detail to that eye as well, which you'll see in a minute. And I've gone right to the edge of the other blue colouring. You'll see. Okay, so I'm going to go back in with my black. I'm just going to be really careful and try and use the corner and go around the outside for a little outline. I might do that with the beak too, because that looks quite nice. And I might do a pupil as well. You have to be careful where you place the pupils because they might look a little bit crazy eyes if you do them in the wrong spot. He's sort of looking down. Ooh, what's down there? Okay, so we'll go around the beak now. I'm being really careful because if you make a mistake with the black, it's going to be pretty difficult for you to fix that. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to continue with this black actually, and this is what I'm going to use to add all of those feather details that an emu has, and they're sort of like, we can sort of do a bit of a hairstyle. So I'm sort of thinking that his part's going to be in the middle here. I'm just going to start bringing the lines out like that. Okay, and I'm going to do the same on the other side. And they've sort of got a bit of a curve to them. You can choose how you want. You could give him a different hairstyle if you want to, that's fine. And I'm going to actually bring some of the lines up as well, so he can have some hair on the top of his head. So I've just keep coming back to that same middle point. I'm going to give him quite a lot of hair too, a full head of hair. Okay, so now we can do the rest of the feathers however you like, down the head and down the body. On the body, I'm actually going to do it sort of over the body as well. And you just keep adding feathers until you're happy with that. Try and start at different points as well. Try not to make it all line up because they wouldn't really on Edward the emu. Now this doesn't have to look exactly like him, that's fine. And I'm actually going to do some thicker hairs around the line of his head just to hide that blue line where the line meets the paper. You'll see a little bit later why that's important, because we're actually going to do a nice bright colour background, and if you don't quite have the black coming in here, you'll have a very hard time getting that coloured background to come right up to the side of his head. Okay, so just keep doing as many lines as you like. However you like is fine. And I'm just going to do that darker black down here, like that. You might be able to do a better one than me, and you can show me and impress me with your artistic skills. I'd love to see them. Okay, he's starting to come along a little bit nicely. So I'm just going to bring it all down here. Sort of almost looks like he has a lion mane, doesn't he? That's okay. Okay, so lots and lots of lines coming down here. And you can sort of make them go off the page because that shows that even though it's not in the picture, that he has the rest of the body as well. And you can actually do 2 emus if you want to. You could do another one coming in the side here, but I'm just going to do one just to show you how I created my emu. Okay, I think I'm happy with that. So now I'm going to show you the background. You can do the background however you like, but I would suggest picking 2 colours. So I've got a few different colours here. I sort of really like the greens here. So you'd like to either pick 2 contrasting colours or 2 complementary colours, 2 colours that complement each other. Oh, it's a tricky choice. I think I really, really like that green, and I think it would go nicely with that blue. And oh, I wish I had one of you here to make a suggestion for me. How about this orange, green and orange? I think that would be nice. So this is really up to you how you'd like to do it. I think I'm going to do it in some chunky wavy lines. Yes, I think I will. So we'll see how that goes. So to start that, I'm going to start in the corner. I'm just turning my paper around. I think I'll go about here. So I'm just going to do a nice wavy line like that. And then I'm going to colour in all of this space. Now the good thing about oil pastels is that you can do it quite quickly, and then you can actually smudge them a little bit. So I'll just show you that in a minute. So I'm trying to make sure I fill in all of the white gaps. Like this. And I'm holding my paper down so that when I'm using the oil pastels, I'm not moving my paper around, it's not going to rip. You have to be quite careful when you get to the edge that you don't fold the paper over or rip it. Okay. And I'm just going to shake those little bits off so they don't go on the rest of my page. Right, so now I'm going to switch to my orange, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to draw a line with about where I'd like to go my orange to. So you have to stop when you get to the black because you don't really want to get that black in your orange. You can a little bit, but you don't really want to mess it up too much. Oh, I've just done the same thing again with that. That's okay. All right, so I'll show you that smudging and blending that I was talking about. So you can sort of overlap a little bit. And this would look quite nice if you were doing it with maybe 2 different greens or something like that. But you can sort of blend the corners, the edges together a little bit and smooth them out. And then it doesn't matter if you overlap them because it has a nice smoothing effect. You could even do a light blue and a dark blue. That would be really nice too. Okay, so I'm just overlapping them slightly and doing that smudging, blending there a little bit. I think that looks nice. Okay, so I'll just fill in the rest of this orange and then I'll show you what we've done. You could even do the background. You could do Edward the Emu in oil pastels or crayons, and then you could paint the background if you wanted to as well. That would be nice. So again, I'm still just trying to get the oil pastels to go in the one way. And then I'm going to be really, really careful when I get to those black lines. It's okay if there's a little bit of white in the background, but you'll notice now that this is why we made it a bit heavier in closer to his head to make this part easier for us. Okay. Now you can go back over those black bits that have come into the orange and sort of just smudge them out into the paper a little bit. So this is what we've got so far. And I'm just going to finish it off using that same technique and show you the finished product.